This video is going to be focused on star children, more specifically the Indigo Children. Um, now, I was identified as an Indigo child in 2011 or 2012, and I've had it verified by several different people in the meantime, or since then. And recently, well, within the last year or so, I more specifically learned with the help of several individuals, including my friend Joanne Rossi, who is a member of our group, that my soul is Pleiadian, um, which is basically the Pleiadians are like an extraterrestrial race based out of the Pleiades system, and they look humanoid. And I guess they exist in a higher dimension. And basically, I'm going to start out because it drives me nuts what some of the stuff I read about Indigo Children kind of explains. Like, the media got a hold of it, and being an Indigo child or a star child has nothing to do with actually being children. A lot of the media reports and like interviews and brief documentaries on Indigo Children are about like kids. Um, Truth is, Indigo Children basically stopped being born. They started being born in like 1950 or so, probably a little later. They were preceded by the Blue Children, who were like the baby boomers that started the hippie movement, which were the original Star Children, but they were different. We'll do a video on the Blue Children in the future. Um, Anyways, yeah, Indigo Children stopped being born in 2003, maybe with a couple late arrivals. So at the youngest, they would be like 11 or 12. Most are from the fourth generation, the Delta generation, and most of us are in our 20s. That's the generation I'm from as well. Um, so basically, the belief is that Indigo Children's souls are either extraterrestrial or angelic. Um, because of this, actually, I'll get more into that later, of the problems that it can cause. So the first real question that we need to get into is, why are Indigo Children here? Why are we here? We are the first true generation of star children to arrive on Earth. And, well, not the first. We are the first from this transitional period. We are at the end of the age of Pisces, and we are going into the age of Aquarius. Now, a lot of the 2012, end of the world stuff was actually, those predictions were actually not about the end of the world, but about the end of the age of Pisces and the beginning of the age of Aquarius. So we're currently between the two. So with that transition comes vast change. And the age of Aquarius, I'll do a video on that later, but it's something we should really be excited about because it's going to be really cool. So the Indigos are to be followed, and the Crystal Children started being born in 2003. They're to be followed by the Crystal Children and the Rainbow Children. The Indigos, being the first generation, are the destroyers. Our task on Earth is to tear down the old structures that are no longer useful or are destructive or even animalistic in some ways, like the destruction of Mother Earth, war, corruption, greed. These are all things that are not welcome in the age of Aquarius. And the Indigo Children have very strong social conscience and have a warrior spirit. We are rebels. We are the ones who are here to protest and to change these or at least get rid of these archaic concepts. I'm going to try to get into this without discussing my political views too much. But the uber capitalism that we have today, most indigos recognize that it's become out of control, and we're trying to find a new way of living that is much less focused on greed and destruction of our earth and natural resources. Okay, so basically, I will do videos on the Crystal Children and Rainbow Children, but they will have a group conscience, which means they will all be like able to like connect to each other and like share thoughts. Indigos do not have that. We are often empathic, and we can like feel other people's feelings, and we are very psychic, which I'll also get into a little later in this video. So a lot of people, like a lot of people, have asked me how to identify if they're an indigo child or not. First of all, I'd like to point out that it's something that once you read about it or once you hear about it, you'll know deep down whether it's you or not. There are a set of unique traits that I will discuss that are shared by nearly all indigo children. Physically, the most noticeable trait is we have big, bright eyes that are very deep and ethereal. Like, I'll try to get in a little closer. But, you know, we have very, very big, bright eyes, usually blue, although obviously, you know, like there are indigo children of every race. And they will still, if you have like an African American or Asian, Hispanic indigo child, they'll have the big eyes that are basically the same, you know, that have the same essence, and they'll still be bright, like a brighter brown, or just have that innate brightness in them. It's also possible, although it's not an exact science, to identify indigo children through their natal charts. Indigos tend to have clustered charts, which means that basically all their planets will be in a small area, usually in less than half of the chart. 6 signs or less. Although, like, you know, there are indigo children who will have huge clusters in like 2 or 3 signs, but then have something on the opposite side, and that does not rule them out as indigo children. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to work technology, and which is going to be, we'll see. And I'll show you a couple charts of indigo children that kind of show you what I'm talking about. Again, I'm new to the video thing. I'm trying to figure out the video editing software. We'll see how it works. Also, many people, indigo children are associated with the outer planets, which would be Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. That tends to show up in the charts of indigo children as, you know, heavy Scorpio, Aquarius, and Pisces influence. I'd say probably at least half of indigo children will have their sun sign in one of those 3 signs. Also, when you see their auras, they will have, this changes from generation to generation, but they will have an indigo, violet, and very specific aura color. Okay, so one of the issues that a few of the issues that a lot of indigo children face are what is often mistaken as certain mental disorders. The most significant and the most common being ADHD. Indigo children have a terribly difficult time, and I can associate with this. I was diagnosed with ADHD at like age 6 or 7 because I'd be in class, and instead of like doing schoolwork like all the other little kids, I was drawing like fucking Pokemon on the desk with a pen, which, you know, is not... Did you guys see that? That was weird. I think that was an orb. Yeah, so I was destroying school property by drawing Pokemon on it at a young age. I couldn't focus on math. I just couldn't focus on things that I found trivial or boring. However, every night before bed, I would read these same nature books about, like reptiles, mammals, different ecosystems, plants, dinosaurs. Like, I was obsessed with nature, and I still am to this day. I find myself at my happiest when I'm outside. I'm, in the forest, and I have a very strong connection with animals. But anyway, back to the ADHD topic. Indigo children are, some more than others, incapable of engaging in things they find trivial. Unfortunately, the use of stimulant drugs like Adderall, Ritalin, those ADHD medications are destructive to indigos. They really kind of hurt us on a spiritual level. And I know that when I was on those medications, I was absolutely miserable. I felt zombified. Like, I wasn't myself. I was not happy. My anxiety was horrible. So if you're an adult watching this and you suspect that you may have an indigo child, or you may yourself be an indigo, please resist the urge to use stimulant-based medications and try to find another solution, which I wish I could give you. I mean, for me, meditation is the best solution I have at this point. I'm still ADHD as fuck, though. Like, my mind moves very fast, which can be annoying sometimes, but it's also where indigos get their brilliance. Most people with ADHD have a high IQ. And as the indigos basically imitate ADHD, these are people that are very gifted and have great potential if we can learn to focus and stop, chasing butterflies and shiny objects around. Bipolar disorder, depression, anxiety are common amongst indigo children. We are not from Earth. So as we're here, our souls are like, we feel homesick. We have trouble understanding other people. We have trouble understanding society. The thing that really connected with me was, even from a young age, feeling like, there's something different about me. And I felt like I was here for a special purpose, but I wondered why I just never felt like the other kids, and that could be related. No, I'm going to say it's not related to, being gay, because I still feel that way in the gay communities. I still feel different, So, unfortunately, even though I think this is a beautiful thing about indigo children, it does cause depression of different sorts. Especially among the later generations, the indigos are prone to issues like drug addiction and suicide. Especially because of our oversensitivity. We are oversensitive to energy that basically, like, if you're in crowded places with negative people, in lifestyles we don't care for, we absorb that energy. We're like sponges. And it can be very upsetting and distressing and cause panic attacks. Like, it's just, it's important to use stones. Like, I have my Numite on right now, which is beautiful. I don't know if you guys can really see it. It's a gorgeous protective stone. It protects me from negative energy. You have, like, black tourmaline. This is another Numite. I don't know if you guys can really see the reflection in it, but it's a very beautiful stone. I'll try and get some better pictures of that if I can edit them in. So yeah, on that note, indigo children are deeply psychic. For me, my first experiences were I have a strong 8th house, which is in my natal chart the house that rules like sex, death, mysticism, and transformation. And my first psychic experiences would be when somebody close to me was going to pass away. I would have a very like deep and lucid dream about that person days beforehand. I've also always seen auras. I'm clairvoyant and clairsentient. I don't really have clairaudience, which is like when you hear messages. But from a young age, I would meditate and see, like, it started with the gold ring, like, which my weird reading teacher told me was the eye of God or something like that. And many indigo children have a strong third eye and are able to see psychic images or have visions, see spirits and entities. It's pretty cool. Definitely for any indigo children, I recommend meditation with the intent of visions. You can use certain crystals. My favorite is especially for star children, because this is a stone specifically for star children. Moldavite, which I will definitely do a video on because I fucking love Moldavite, is a tektite, and so it's basically from outer space, like our souls. Weird, right? So anyways, yeah, aside from the more like vision and clairaudient and clairvoyant and stuff, psychic abilities, we also have intuition, where we have a deep understanding of what is right and what is wrong. Unfortunately, there's a lot wrong in the world. So, growing up, I have my moments, very rebellious and anti-authority. And this is because just deep in my heart, I knew that like shit was fucked up. Like the world we live in is fucked up. And I've always felt a deep need to be part of some cause, to like fight for human rights and to just help design a better society. Because no matter what your beliefs are, I think we can agree that things are not working out. People as a whole are not happy right now. I can actually get more into that because I have been to places where people are happy and have a lot less money than we do in America. So anyways, indigo children have been categorized into 5 generations. I'll try to go over these quickly. The alphabet generation, born from 1958 to 1968, was the original generation. They have dark blue and green metallic auras. There aren't as many of them, and I couldn't find too much specific information about the alphas. Same with the betas, which are 1968 to 1978. Their auras tend to lean towards dark blue and purple. Now, we started changing the 1978 to 1988 gamma generation. They had a purple and crystalline aura. They were more sensitive than the previous generations. Psychically, to energy, they're more empathic, and so they're the ones that started to struggle. They have a lot of the struggles that are affiliated with indigo children. Next was the Delta generation, which is the generation that I'm a part of. That was 1988 to 1998. This is the majority of indigo children on Earth were born in this generation. Under pretty unique astrological weather, too. This is the time when Pluto was in Scorpio, and Uranus and Neptune were in a conjunction in Capricorn, which means they were aligned. and those planets were in a sextile with Pluto. So basically, in layman's terms, the outer planets were in very ideal positions in the stars, amongst the astrological signs. This created very psychic, very rebellious individuals, and the aura in my generation is a pure indigo. And of course, when you see somebody's aura, you will not see just one color. There's many colors, but these Delta Indigo children have a dominantly indigo aura. Which indigo is like, it's a deep blue that's getting closer towards a violet. Although I've seen it vary from like a lighter, almost like electric indigo, to a darker, closer to black indigo. We are very extroverted and hyperactive. We are the most prone to ADHD, drug use, and behavioral problems. Definitely a lot of problems with authority in this generation. And then the final generation is sort of transitional. This is the Omega generation, which is listed as 1998 to 2008. I personally think that conflicts because the majority of metaphysicists believe that indigo children stopped being born in 2003. However, these could be, kind of hybrid indigo crystal children. The aura color of these children is indigo mixed with like a crystalline, which is like kind of an opalescent aura. My niece is in this generation, and when she was like a little baby, I remember she had these big blue eyes that were just so gorgeous. And my first thought was, like, she has star child eyes. So when I looked at her aura, it was like this awesome iridescent rainbow. It looked like an opal kind of like pattern. And so these indigo children are rebellious like the previous generations, but they're slightly more peaceful, as the crystal children are going to be very peaceful and unified, whereas indigos are kind of like loose cannons, which is fun. But yeah, so those are the generations. They kind of clarify that there are differences throughout the years in indigo children. So basically, there was a lot of literature and stuff available to parents of the Delta, specifically the Delta generation, because indigo children are difficult. We are hard-headed, and we absolutely refuse to conform to what society expects of us. As I said earlier in the video, we have a warrior spirit. So we are fighters. We don't give in. And it's because we know deep down what's right and what's wrong. And we're not okay with letting fucked up shit happen and not saying something and not standing up. A good example is Anthony Kiedis, the singer from Red Hot Chili Peppers. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about if you haven't been living in a bubble. When he was in high school, he actually used to, which I totally think is awesome, because it would be, the school system would be a lot better if more people did this. He used to get in fights with bullies who weren't picking on him, but he'd see them picking on other kids, and he felt the need to go in there and defend them, to stick up for the little guy. And this is a very common trait of indigo children, which is we almost always sympathize with the people who are being taken advantage of. We are not sympathetic for those in power or authority, especially those who misuse their power. It does not just have to be in your own state, your own government. Indigo children tend to look at the world as a whole more than as individual countries. Your patriotism is unusual, if unheard of amongst indigos. We are not just concerned about our little country or our little region. We're concerned about the whole world. We also are very likely to feel very connected to nature and animals. And I've met many indigo children who prefer animals to people. And that tends to arise, like animal abuse and stuff like that, for me, tends to make me very upset. It makes me feel pain, it can make me cry. Same with like child abuse and stuff like that. It's very, it makes me sad, but it also makes me angry in a way that I feel the need to stand up and fight, because what these people are doing is wrong. I still cry about the statistics with the Amazon rainforest too, with how quickly we're like burning that shit down, because it's, I don't know, it's fucked up. So another thing that makes indigo children difficult is we act like royalty. Check out my finger. I got a crown on it. I'm related to the Swedish royal families, like distantly, but I got that because it symbolizes indigo children for me. Like we're natural leaders. We are in some ways we will feel a sense of entitlement. But we also, just like royalty, we don't let other people boss us around. We make our own decisions, but we can be bossy and controlling, especially the Scorpio and Aquarius indigos, because we're fixed signs, or Leos, God forbid. So yeah, as I said earlier, indigo children tend to be diagnosed with ADHD and tend to have higher than average intelligence, or be very gifted in some kind of different way. Wish that was true for me. But I'm just kidding. I feel, I am confident that I have my talents and my skills. Many awesome musicians are indigo children. I'm gonna name drop Santa Gold, and if you guys don't know who Santa Gold is, you should look her up because she is so dope. That's Santigold. Yeah, she, Patti Smith. I'm not gonna just list off like famous indigo children, but they're very prominent in the music and arts industry, and that's that. That feeling of being special, and that abstract mind and psychic connection. The cool part about, many people who are artistic are more likely to claim to be psychic than others, and that is really cool because some artists are unknowingly channeling other energies, like through they're using themselves as an outlet to for like a higher entity or consciousness to communicate through. And many indigo children are artists for that reason, to be a psychic outlet. Also to use their artwork or music or poetry or writing or whatever to try and change the world, because every indigo child has an innate need to fight for what they believe in. Like I've said far too many times by now. So again, art is another way to do that. We usually struggle, like I said, higher than average intelligence. We usually struggle in the education system, menial jobs, because we just feel like there's more important shit going on. The difference between most Indigo children and people who actually have ADHD is that Indigos hyper-focus on things that they find important, but have almost no ability to focus on things they don't find important or things they find boring. I almost did not graduate high school because of math class. You have to take, 3 years of math in high school. So 2 years, I was always in fundamentals, people who are not so great at math. I passed with a D my first 2 years of high school. Failed in 11th grade. I got like a 45 in Algebra 2 fundamentals. And then senior year I passed with a fucking 61. So I was literally 1 point away from being held back because of math. Because I just couldn't, it was like looking at a different language. Like, my mind just didn't work that way. Not to mention that I found it just horribly boring. And so I'd sit in the back of class doodling or talking to my friends, or sitting there with hardcore restless leg syndrome, just bored to tears. So, there are theories that different education systems should be used for Indigo children. I don't personally encourage that. We need to learn how to, interact in the real world. But yeah, and that intelligence that we have is to be put to use to find better solutions than we have now, to find a better system and to solve problems that have yet been unsolved. So yeah, that's really my summary of Indigo Children. I really hope that I can get some more Indigos, some more Star Children to make similar videos. I'd be happy to share them on my webpage. I love you guys. I'm gonna try to edit this. We'll see how that works. It would be cool if I could play some music, but I don't know if I'm not great with technology, so we'll see what happens. Alright, I love you guys. I hope I can get please give me some good feedback. Tell your friends about Metaphysical Love Conscience. We'd love to have them, as long as they're nice. No meanies. Peace.